I changed some settings in Zoom before, and then long story short, the last couple have been recorded, and then I started recording this a little late. Okay, so I'm going to do another example of this. And all right, peace out, Joe. And just to kind of see what we're doing, and to really emphasize each step, because there's little things that we need to do along the way. So in the meantime, while I wrap this up, either in the chat or who said, do you have a question? Or did you just want to mention the? Okay. That's fine. I'll look at the homework stuff. Some people are having issues with homework. And I'm just gonna push. I'm just gonna push stuff back. I don't mind. Stuff's crazy, and try to work with you all on this. All right. Any other questions about this stuff? We're gonna do one more at least. All right, here's a nice one. Yeah, start with this. That's 4. So 4x squared. I think I'm going to like this one because we're going to go over a little bit of everything here. A lot of stuff going on already. One thing we need this to be 1. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 4. So this, dividing this by 4 gives us just x squared, which is what we want. We want this to be a 1. We're going to divide this by 4. So we're going to get 2 over 4x. And this by 4, which is 5 over 4. Cool. Okay. Now there's a few things. First off, this reduces to 1/2. All right, this over here. 1/2 x. This I need to move over to this side because we don't care about this yet. We will, but not just yet. Plus a space for emphasis. Too bad, Ken. You served me well. There's a blank right there. Okay. And now, of course, our question is, what do we put there? Little scratch work. We want to look at our b term. This guy. So b equals 1/2. So b over 2 is the same thing as b times 1/2. That's what we're doing. We're taking half. We're halving b, which in this case b is 1/2. So replacing b with 1/2, taking half of 1/2, which is 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/4. And we'll want to come back to this 1/4 in just a moment. But for now, we're going to square b over 2. So b over 2 is 1/4. If we square that, we get 1/4 times 1/4, which is 1/16. Okay. So back to here. Here's what we have. We have that this whole thing equals -5/4 x squared plus 1/2 x plus b over 2 squared. 1/16 on this side, and to even it out, 1/16 on this side. Okay, now, a lot of simplification to do, but if you can remember this, this will help you immensely. I do like, I'll mention that, like, sometimes I don't like shortcuts because I feel like there's a lot of that middle work. You could have caught yourself making a mistake somewhere if you didn't skip some steps. But in this case, looking at this, you might not immediately see how this factors. In fact, it might be kind of rough dealing with all those fractions, but if we look at, here's our b divided by 2, which is 1/4, which is a positive 1/4, so this factors on the left side to x plus 1/4 squared. Looking over on this side, though, we need common denominators. Multiplying top and bottom of this guy by 4, we get negative 20/16 plus 1/16. So what we're dealing with now is x plus 1/4 quantity squared equal to negative 19/16, 1 minus 20. And as you can see, we're right at the precipice of solving for this completely. And there are only 10 of you left. Okay, that's fine. No big deal. Okay. Don't worry about the solve this completely. I just need more space. So, square root both sides. If we square root both sides, we get x plus 1/4 equals plus and minus. It's going to get weird. Don't fret. The square root of this guy could be seen as the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 19/16. The square root of 19/16 can be seen as the square root of 19 over the square root of 16. We know that square root of negative 1, our magic number, is I. So now I'm just simplifying the right side. And so what we have is plus or minus square root of 19, which doesn't go down cleanly, divided by the square root of 16, which is 4i. And we are looking at x plus 1/4. Yeah. So subtracting 1/4 from both sides, we have x equals negative 1/4 plus and minus the square root of 19/4i. Snap. Snap. All right, y'all. That's completing the square. And this one we had to do all the steps, which is nice. Yeah, it does get weird. Yeah, these answers get weird. You're going to have fractions. You're going to have complex numbers. It's kind of trippy. But now you can solve anything. Any quadratic I throw at you, you can complete the square, get it done.
So because,
yeah, hit me.
I was going to say, so because we know b over 2 equals whatever it equals is going to be like in the final x plus, we can kind of just like skip steps basically as long as we do the other side.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
especially
it'll make a problem shorter.
Basically, yeah.
Cool.
So effectively, the main step to skip is factoring like this and looking and trying to be like, I don't know how to factor this. This looks crazy. it factors to this. And in fact, the reason it factors to this is the point, actually. When we complete the square, we're completing this square. We're making this such that this is x plus something squared.
Okay. Sweet.
Pretty sweet. Now, I can throw up some example practice stuff if you guys would like. Yeah, actually, because then tomorrow we'll talk all about the quadratic equation, and I'll also talk about the discriminant and try to move through that. Maybe we'll have a little bit more people here on a Friday, but maybe not. Okay, so I'll just give you guys a few things to work on. If you guys want practice, also hopefully now you're starting to see, because I know we're finally at the point in the semester where I give you homework and you look at the problems and you're like, I don't know what's happening. And the reason you don't know what's happening is because we haven't actually gone through the lectures yet. So
Did
now,
you give,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was going to say, did you give new written homework?
Yes, it's posted. It's homework week 11. It's
Okay.
under the files on Canvas under homework.
When is it due?
Next Wednesday.
Oh, okay. All right.
And also, yeah. Oh boy. Oh. Okay. Here's some practice. Here's from earlier stuff. Here's just square root property questions, which is going to look a lot like things like this. We're just solving for x. NBD, I forget which one I did earlier. X minus. Oh, this is a lovely one right here. This last one. Oops. Going too fast. Get something squared on the left side and then some numbered stuff on the right side, just square root it. Just go to town on it. That's the idea for these. And then, so you can practice your very own completing the square. I know I just erased this, but whatever. Complete square. You know what I mean. So I know it's not the quadratic equation that some of you are just champing at the bit to use, but now, honestly, with just completing the square, the factor world is your oyster. Oh, this is a good one right here. No quiz for now. I haven't quite figured out how I want to do quizzes. I know there's only 11 of you, and this is not the whole class, but sort of thinking out loud. I know for the most part how you guys feel about quizzes. And you probably would not be sad if there weren't quizzes anymore. I'm thinking I'll probably do like a few, like once a week, maybe after this week or something like that. So there's two things we can go about, and I don't mind because this is like a different format and everything's weird. So I'd like to hear from you guys. Is we can either vote to some extent. Maybe I'll actually make a legit poll in Zoom. We can either not do quizzes, and that's fine. However, I do want to mention to y'all that if we do have quizzes, can help your grade. It can help pad your grade. And what I mean by that is, like, if we have quizzes, that means there's just more points happening. And even if you don't do stellar on every quiz, the fact that there's more points floating around, like you'd have an extra 10 points from a quiz out of your whole system, can actually help your grade a bit. So for people that are asking for like extra credit and stuff, there won't necessarily be extra credit. I'll have to figure out how to deal with like the math lab and PAL extra credit we talked about. I'll probably just look at what you did before COVID and other stuff. I'll have to sort that out, talking to some teachers about that. But with quizzes, I mean, I'm not going to say that they're extra credit quizzes, but if we do have some quizzes, it can help with your grade some if you're feeling a little off about your grade. So it's just something to think about. We can either do quizzes, not do quizzes at all, and say we're just going to do some homework and tests, or we can pad our grade a little bit and throw in some quizzes, and I can even throw in several if you want, because I can just do these through Alex. And I think I can do them through Alex such that we could do in-class quizzes through Alex, and we can also just do quizzes through Alex that I just give you like an hour to do or whatever. Okay. Like basically a timed assignment. Let's just be due at random times. Anyways, just something to think about.
Can I ask you a question? For number 3 on the square root one, are you going to get a fraction as a final answer for that
I
one?
believe so.
Okay. Sweet.
Yes, you should.
Okay. Thanks.
I should also get complex.
Yeah. Well, like an I or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what time is it? Okay. All right. And then, yeah, please, if you guys have any questions, if you want me to work through some of these, just let me know.
If you get a chance, can you work on square root problem number 2? I just want to see like,
This guy?
yeah, because I don't know if my answer is right or wrong. So
Do you have 2 answers?
so I got like plus or minus 7.
Okay, you're close. 7 is positive 7 is one of the answers.
Oh, so it would be, the other one would be 1, negative or positive 1?
You're right in there somewhere.
3 minus 4. Oh, negative 1. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when I put the 3 on the other side, it kind of threw me off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. It's, practicing stuff is hugely helpful. Because looking at it and watching me do it is one thing, and it can help you learn the ropes, but actually physically doing it is probably the best way to learn. In fact, it's still true all the way up to the higher math that I'm doing, which numbers have largely gone out the window. It's mainly just words and stuff. Even that, just doing it helps. All right, I'm actually going to pull up the Alex stuff right now, guys, for everybody.
Will a negative, does that mess anything up with completing the square, or do you just treat it like if it was still a positive? Like
a negative like here, or a negative on like this side?
For completing the square, like the ones that you showed us, it was just plus like B. So if it's minus B, does that throw everything off, or
doesn't make any difference? In fact, for example, in this one, the B here is -8, and the B here is -1.
Okay.
It'll just all it will do is when you get down to like this, like to the completed square, if this b is negative, then inside is going to be negative. That's the only thing that'll make a difference.
Okay.
Let's see. A couple of you were mentioning 11.1 is not available, and that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. In fact, I see the issue. I think they're both opening up today / due today, which is really wonky. So for the record, for people that are here, I'm going to go ahead and push back 9.2, catch up objective 2, which I'm not going to lie, I actually don't exactly know what that means, and 11.1 till Saturday. Yes. And nope, for people asking, no, nothing's due tonight, but it'll be that what was due tonight is due Saturday night. So still do it, because I know you might get lost in doing other stuff during the weekend. So still work on the Alex, the catch-up objective, and 11.1, but it's not due tonight. Okay, so we're just about out of time. Any and all questions from all y'all? I didn't do the breakout rooms just because there's not a whole lot of you in here to begin with.
Can you, if you have time, can
Sure.
you do like one or two or like any one of the completing the square ones?
Sure.
Just like see.
Oh yeah, the completing the square ones. Yeah. Sure, I'll do the second one quickly, and then I'll do this one a little bit more carefully.
Okay.
All right, y'all. If y'all don't want to see anything, class is over. It is 1:20. So have a nice day, y'all. But if you guys want to stick around and do some completing the square, let's do it. All right. So bam, I'm looking at this, and I'm going to divide everything by 2 right off the bat. So I have x squared minus 1/2 x. Would have been minus a 1/2, but I'm actually going to move this over here right now. And it's going to be positive 1/2. Is that too much, too quick?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay. So now, here's our b. Our b is negative 1/2. Thus, our b over 2 is negative 1/4. So we're just multiplying this by 1/2.
Yeah.
Or another way I like to think of it is if there's denominator, just multiply that denominator by 2, all at the same time. So this squared, though, now if we square this thing,
Negative 1/16, or would it be positive?
it'd be, we're squaring the whole side, so it would be 1/16 positive.
Okay.
That is what we're going to add right here and here. To this side in the space, and to this side right here. Now, here's another neat little trick, or here's the same trick I keep mentioning. This factors real quick. It factors into x plus whatever this is. In this case, that is negative 4
For you.
squared.
Mm, mm, mm.
And now we just need to simplify this part.
Yeah.
This simplifies into here. This 1/2 is the same thing as 8/16. So 8/16 plus 1/16 is going to give us 9/16.
Mm-hmm.
Square root both sides. And we end up with x minus 1/4 equals, well, plus and minus the square root of 9/16, which is square root of 9 divided by the square root of 16. So plus or minus 3/4.
Yeah.
And then we just add a 4th over there. There's a lot of stuff going on.
So when you get to that, can you stop, or do you want us to find both of those answers?
It'd be nice for you to, just because these are fractions that like we can easily add, subtract together. If there was like square roots and i's and other stuff like that, then you could probably stop right here. But we have 1/4 plus 3/4, which is just 1. And then we have 1/4 minus 3/4, which is negative 2/4, which is negative 1/2. Dope?
Mhm.
Indeed. Okay, last but not least, give myself some more space for this.
Yeah,
Actually,
this one was throwing me off a lot.
it is all good. In fact, it is going to get weird, but the thing is, even though numbers look weird, if you stick to your guns and stick to the process, it's not too crazy. And I'll show you why. Plus square root of 3x. Now there's a negative 1/4 here, but I'm going to add that to both sides. Okay, so our a is already 1.
Mm-hmm.
We shall proceed. Our b is the square root of 3. Kind of awkward, but doable. If we look at b over 2, of course, that's the square root of 3 divided by 2. For any trig fans, this is probably looking familiar. Now we're going to square both sides. So b over 2 squared equals this whole thing being squared, so square root of 3 squared, which is 3, divided by 2 squared, which is 4. So let's add a 3/4. Oops. Let's add a 3/4 to both sides.
So it's going to be 1.
Booyah. Now, what is this part?
X plus the square root of 3/2 squared.
Just the square root of 3/2.
Oh, okay, you don't need the square part.
Yeah, no, because this is just, we just want this half of b.
Oh, I don't know why I thought, oh, it's because, okay, never mind.
So that's what it is here. Oh yeah, this is being squared. We completed the square. Now, square rooting both sides, using the square root property that we did earlier. We have x plus root 3 over 2 equals plus and minus 1. And thus, subtracting this over, x equals negative root 3 over 2 plus and minus 1.
Sweet. Yeah, I think where I got thrown off was at the when you squared the b over 2/2. I think I messed up there when I tried to do it.
Gotcha.
I didn't get 1 on the other side. That's probably why.
Yeah. All right, y'all. That's some complete the square action. Now your written and online homework should be a little bit more doable. And for the 6 of you that are here, tomorrow is an awesome day because it's quadratic formula time. We have arrived. It's week 11. That's quadratic formula time. All right, y'all. I need to get out of here. If you have any other questions, please let me know now or online. Email me.
So my only question is homework 11.1 due tonight, or did you say Saturday?
It is not. It is due Saturday.
Okay.
I literally just changed it while we were in class.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
You're very welcome. You too. Y'all don't have to go home. But you can't stay here.